The left calling on President Trump to cancel his summit with Vladimir Putin following the indictment of 12 Russians for meddling in the 2016 election.
There should be no one-on-one meeting between this president and Mr. Putin.
The president should clearly cancel that trip to Helsinki unless he's going to take this indictment with him.
The attack is continuing, and now is the time to make the Russians pay a price. No more business as usual, no more bromance.
But are Democrats just playing politics? Here to debate, Republican strategist and Fox News political analyst John Caldwell and Democratic strategist Jason Nichols. Good to see both of you. Mr. Nichols, I will begin with you. Do you think Trump should cancel the meeting with Putin?
Well, I think he should certainly consider canceling it. I mean, obviously, this was an attack on our sovereignty and our most important institution, which is our democracy. So I definitely think that he should think of canceling it. If not, he needs to make serious preconditions before this meeting, particularly to turn over those 12 indicted Russian meddlers. That certainly needs to happen.
Gianna, before I get to you, I want to play the president's response when asked about Putin meddling in our elections yesterday. This was in England. Take a listen.
Will we be talking about meddling? And I will absolutely bring that up. I don't think you'll have any, gee, I did it, you got me. There won't be a Perry Mason here, I don't think, but you never know what happens, right? But I will absolutely, firmly ask the question.
Gianno, that wasn't enough for a lot of Democrats. Is it enough for you?
All right. You know, this is what I find to be particularly interesting when Democrats with what I consider to be fake outrage when it comes to this meeting. In September 2016, President Obama knew about the hacking of well, not the elections, but what the hacking that the Russians were doing when it came to the DNC and otherwise. There was a G20 meeting. President Obama had a sidebar with Vladimir Putin for 90 minutes. Democrats didn't say, hey, you should cancel that meeting. They didn't say anything of the kind. They said what he did was bold and he stood up to him. Now when it comes to President Trump, who's literally been bold and stood up to folks that try to take advantage of our country, they say, no, it's a bad idea, which emphasizes more and more that this is more politics, this is fake outrage, and Democrats, and Jason, with respect to you, this isn't things that you and your folks were saying back then. So what's the difference now?
Jason?
No collusion.
Well, in terms of the no collusion part, one of the things we heard that Rod Rosenstein said was that there was no collusion in this indictment and that the investigation is ongoing. So we'll see what turns up.
No Americans colluded with the Russians.
Well, again, in this indictment, that's not included, and Rod Rosenstein said
no
that
Americans colluded with the Russians. That was obvious. The
investigation is ongoing. Of course, President Obama
with no Americans colluding with the Russians.
did give a stern, formal warning, as did John Brennan, to Mr. Putin. But you have to think that Putin is a KGB thug, and thugs don't necessarily listen to warnings. President Trump, we just think that he needs to have
with the Russians.
But respond to Jason's comment on dealing with a thug, this sort of concept that President Trump's not going to be able to handle himself in a meeting with President
Trump has some thuggish things, thuggish qualities himself, but he's not a KGB thug like Putin is.
Okay, Gianno, do you think he's going to be able to handle himself on Monday?
I mean, we can just look at the president's accomplishments and how he stood up to dictators. Let's look at Kim Jong-un and what he did to make Kim Jong-un capitulate.
Or he slapped
capitulate, make a deal. He did something that no American president in recent history has been able to do. So when we think about Vladimir Putin, who he's been very direct on in terms of what he will have a conversation with, I do believe that he's able to have this conversation and stand up with him and be very tough.
He stood up and gave him a hug.
Right. Guys, we got to go. I knew when I saw you both smile, I knew I was just going to be able to let you go and have at it. Great debate. Appreciate it. Gentlemen, enjoy your Saturday. Coming up, an entire